Hey guys, Metal Jesus here, and today we're going to be looking back to the mighty Xbox 360 and to a feature that at the time I think a lot of us knew about, but ultimately I don't think a lot of people took advantage of, and that is the Xbox 360 faceplates. This was a feature when announced that I was very surprised to see. We'd never been given access to customizing our gaming systems quite like this ever before. And at the time, Microsoft was all in on it. Now, to give you an idea of just how many of these were made, according to the website xboxaddict.com, there were over 990 of these commercially made and released to the public. That is insane. Now, you guys know I'm a big Xbox 360 fan. I love that system. I love the games for it. And I gotta be honest, over the last couple years, I've made it my mission to try to acquire as many faceplates as I possibly could. And so I have a bunch of these and I wanted to share them with you because it's really interesting to collect for these because again, there are so many of them. The variety is off the charts. There's something for everybody here. And many of these are often hard to find and can be pretty expensive. Now, if you're like me, you loved the original Xbox, right? That big beastie black machine that came out, super powerful. It played a ton of great games, but let's be honest, it wasn't a looker. So when it came time for Microsoft to build a follow-up to it, which ultimately became the Xbox 360, they actually reached out to a design firm called Astro Studios from San Francisco. This is a really interesting design firm because they actually designed the original iPac PDA from Compaq. I remember my CEO at the time had one of these PDAs, and while it might not look like much today, at the time it just seemed so elegant and beautiful. They also designed a bunch of Alienware computers, as well as footwear, furniture, and also the original Zune. And so when it came time to designing the Xbox 360, they really kind of thought outside the box a little bit and kind of took inspiration from places like Apple and, some of those early iPods, as well as the iMacs. When I first saw this console, I was taken by its slightly concave design. That's something that we had never seen before, at least as far as I know, in the gaming console market. It just looked very elegant and very beautiful. And at the time, I thought the name Xbox 360 was kind of dumb, kind of confusing. It didn't make any sense. However, the design team behind this had this idea of putting the player in the center and the console and the online aspect of it and the games and the multimedia surrounding them in this 360 bubble. That was the idea behind all this. But to take that even a step further was the faceplates. So this was meant to be a place where gamers and console owners could essentially be creative and make it their own. And at the time, they pushed the idea of not just going to a store and actually buying pre-made ones, but you could actually make your own. You could buy blank ones and create your own, which is pretty cool. Typically, if you go and buy these today, the prices range anywhere from $10 to $40, depending on the condition and also if you have the original packaging or not. Now, there are some very collectible ones. The most expensive one that I own is this 2005 E3 faceplate that was given out by Microsoft to the press. And this was my main faceplate from the very beginning. It was really odd actually for me to see other people's Xbox 360 because theirs would just be plain white. And I had this one that was at the time fairly hard to come by. Now today they are very collectible because again, you had to go to E3 at that time to get it. And the price for this ranges anywhere from $300 to $400. However, my most rare faceplate has to be this one right here. This faceplate was designed by Mark Searles, who reached out to me. Now, he was a graphic designer for Live Nation. At the time, they were promoting this Linkin Park tour, and this was meant to be a giveaway for that. So he designed the ads and also this faceplate based on that Banksy art. And at the time, one of the sponsors of that tour was Xbox, and they were promoting Halo 3, and thus why they had this Xbox 360 giveaway. Now, he's not sure how many of these were made, but when I do a search on the internet, it comes up with 0 results. This may be the only one out there. I don't know. So if you happen to win one of those, I would love to know that. I always thought this was pretty cool. So there were 5 faceplates released for the game Eternal Sonata. Now, I have 3 of them, but if you happen to have all 5 of them together as a set, they can probably fetch up to about $300. The Grand Theft Auto 4 one is collectible and sought after, probably because, pretty much anything GTA related people want. Now, this particular one here was available to people who pre-ordered the game at Game Crazy stores. It typically goes for about $50. Now, if you have the original box though, yeah, you can get a bit more. This one's pretty hard to find. This is a limited edition Ubisoft faceplate that was given out to vendors back in 2006. It's not super expensive, but it's very hard to find and typically will cost you anywhere from $50 to $80. I don't get the sense that Xbox 360 faceplates were a big seller for retailers. And the reason why I say that is because a lot of these actually were just pre-order bonuses. It didn't seem like there was any other way to get them, so companies basically just use them to incentivize people to pre-order their games. So for instance, this Unreal Tournament 3, this was free if you pre-ordered the game at any of the GameStops or EB Games locations. Here's another one. This is Final Fantasy 13, again, given to people who pre-ordered the game specifically in the US. As you can imagine, there were a lot of faceplates that highlighted sports and teams, and again, a lot of these were given out at stores when they would run, let's say, NCAA tournaments to celebrate the release of a game. Perhaps you won that tournament and the prize would be one of these very collectible faceplates. Another one that's considered pretty rare and hard to find these days is the Xbox Live Arcade 2008 edition. As you can see here, it highlights all the successes of the Xbox Live Arcade games that were out at the time. Thankfully, not all faceplates are hard to find or expensive, especially, considering that there were 900 of them released. One of the first Microsoft released faceplates around the time of the launch of the console itself is this wood grain version. They did a bunch of these wood grain ones depending on the region, and there is just a ton of these pretty much everywhere, and again, they're usually really cheap. Another one I see all the time is for the Xbox exclusive, the Outfit. I don't know what it is about this game. I don't know if they just made a billion of these or what, and nobody bought them, or I don't know what the deal is, but as you can see here, just over the years, I've randomly got 3 of them. And that's what's really cool about collecting these. For one, most game collectors don't care. And so when I go to an expo or a retro gaming store and I ask if they have them, I'm like the only guy in the last 6 months to ask if they have faceplates. Most people don't care, which is pretty cool. So when I go there, very little competition. Usually they just have to go in the back room. They forgot about it. They sell it to you for $10 and you're on your way. And the other thing that I love is that there's just a ton of variety with these things. They made so many of them covering everything that you could possibly care about. The sad thing is, it didn't last very long. So when Microsoft redesigned the Xbox 360, they completely dropped support for the faceplates, and that was it. But I still think it's a fantastic idea and one that Microsoft could implement on the current generation of consoles, right? The Xbox Series X is just a monolithic rectangle, basically, and you could easily have panels there that could swap out with really cool graphics and branding and all that sort of stuff. It's an idea that was brilliant at the time. A couple things you might want to look out for if you're going to start collecting faceplates for the 360. The first one being is that sometimes the faceplate will be missing that piece that usually would cover the IR port. I'm not sure why sometimes these break off, but occasionally I do run into faceplates that don't have them. The other issue is that sometimes the door that covers the USB ports will be broken or sometimes gone. There's a really tiny spring in there that sometimes falls out. And so just be aware that those are the 2 issues I typically run into. And at the end here, I do want to thank the people who helped me acquire a bunch of these. When the word got out that I was looking for these, a bunch of people who watch my channel and follow me on social media reached out and basically donated and sold me a bunch of these at expos and things like that. So you guys helped a ton. So thank you very much. But I would love to know if you rocked a custom Xbox 360 faceplate on your console. Let me know which one you had down in the comments below. And as always, guys, I want to thank you for watching my channel. Thank you for subscribing and take care.